Crochet for our weekly stitch tutorial. This week's stitch is a play off of last week's stitch. Last week's stitch was the seed stitch. Well, this week's stitch is going to be the double seed stitch, and it is worked up a little differently. It is a full row repeating. So to go knit, knit, purple, knit, knit, purple, how you start it. But you're still going to alternate your stitches from knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. I know it sounds confusing, but we will show you. Now go ahead and chain, I chained 20. We're going to go ahead and work in our back bumps like we always do. Go ahead and pull up 20 loops. And remember to crochet a little looser than normal because the knit and purl are going to tighten your work up and it can create the side curls. I should have said that in the last video as well, but I didn't think about it until this video. But we're going to work these knit and purls together. We're going to do total 12 rows for this, so that way the whole pattern comes out. But go ahead and pull up your back loops. And I mean, some people can just slide their needle right into them. Split the yarn right there. There we go. I never have, even no matter how loose I make them, I never been able to just slide my needle right into them. I always have to pinch it and push through. And they're not tight, as you can see. But you can actually see the back bumps. But, you know, it is what it is. All right, we're just about to the end. I'm going to count and make sure I have 20 because I did chain 20. And by now you should know how to do a basic crochet chain. And of course, the foundation row. See, I split the yarn. I felt that too. And that's going to happen. That is going to happen. Well, there goes my headphones. And that's going to happen. It just seems like the yarn of 5 years ago is not the yarn of today. Me and my husband were talking about that the other day. Is like the yarn, you know, 5 years ago seemed like it was woven or spun tighter, and the yarn now is actually like it seems like it's spun pretty loose. And sorry, I got a squeaky chair. So you have to deal with what we get, you know. It's not like we can really complain to them, because what is that going to really do? All right, so it's a normal return, but we're going to count. I make sure I got 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. All right, so I like I said, I bunch up my work. All right, so we're going to yarn over, and it's a normal return pass. Chain 1. And now we pull through 2. We're going to do that all the way down to the end. Go ahead and pull through 2 all the way to the end. All right, so that's our foundation row. We have that done. So next, we're going to start with the knit. And if you don't remember how to do a knit stitch, there's the tutorial video that I did. I believe it's the 3rd in the series. So you see your vertical bars. You got 1 and you got 2. 1, 2. You're going to split it, push through the back into the gap, so that way you're splitting that bar. And then you just grab your yarn and pull through. Now we're doing a purl. Just the same as last week. Over, through the front, drop it, pick it up, pull through. Another knit. And on these foundation rows, it is a little bit tighter. Just because we're working, we haven't really built anything up yet. And we're also working off the base chain. Right, we did a purl, so now we do a knit. And then we do another purl. Another knit. Remember, another way you can do the knit is pull up the front bar, pull it up, go through it, pull back just a little bit so you can get in that gap, and then bingo. And it works. It's the same thing, just a different way of getting there. All right, yarn over, push through, drop, yarn over, and pull through. Purl, and we go back to the knit, purl, another knit, now purl. We started with a knit, we should end with a purl. Another knit, now another purl, knit, purl, knit, almost messed that one up, purl, and what do you know, we're ending with a purl. And the last stitch is always the same. You're looking for, sometimes you may have to use your needle, spread it open a little bit, but we're looking for this last two in our chain. And on this first one, it's first row is always hard to see, but it's the very last two. You see that little bitty V right there, one on each side of my finger. That's what you're looking to poke through. And then you grab your yarn and you just pull it through. Now it's the same standard return pass. Chain one, pull through two. And we're gonna do this all the way down to the end to where we only have one loop on our hook. And there we are. Now, this is where things get different than the seed stitch, okay? Because the seed stitch, we would say, okay, we did knit there, well, we need to do a purl here. No, not with the double seed stitch. Double seed stitch is, well, guess what? A knit's going into the knit. And a purl is going into the purl. And you can see the difference between the two because the purls have the bumps and the knits don't. So there's a knit, you can see the bars, they kind of look like a knit. And now the purl has the bump. Another knit, another purl, knit, purl, come on, knit, purl, knit, purl. And remember, if you can, press that subscribe button because it helps me out greatly and helps with these videos, help me continue doing these videos. It tells me people are actually liking them. If you can subscribe and like them, it'd be greatly appreciated. There's a knit. Now we go to a purl. A knit, purl, a knit, and a purl. All right, so we ended with a purl again. Great. Now, it's a lot easier with the second row. To just drop your needle down, bend your work into your needle, and you can see where you need to go. Those two right there. Grab your yarn, pull through, bingo. Now chain one, and then we pull through two. Okay, so you can kind of see how it's starting. Pretty much similar to the seed stitch. However, of course, we went into the same into it, same stitch into each hole unlike the seed, it would have been alternated. Guess what? Now we're alternating again. Now we're going to start with the purl. And there we go. Purl, a knit into the purl, a purl into the knit, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, a knit, purl, knit, a purl, a knit, a purl, slipped it, a knit, oh come on, and a purl, a knit. Now we drop down, just drop it, bend your work, bingo, and then pull through one, chain one, pull through two, and just your standard, I can't talk, your standard return pass. Got tongue-tied for a minute. Slipped. And there we go. So we have one. Okay, and with this next row, we do the exact same thing. A purl. You're just copying the same row again. So you can do a purl and a knit. You're going to work everything back up in the same thing. I'll pull out some more yarn here. These pearls eat it up. So you're just working the same stitches into the same stitch, really. And this is a 4-row repeat. So since we're on the 4th row, the next row is going to be different. And knit. Now we drop down, fold our work into our needle, pull through, chain one, normal return pass, so pull through two. All right, so that's what it's starting to look like. Now, since we're at row 4, now we go back to the beginning again. So we're going to do a knit, purl, and you're going to do this for 2 rows, and then you're going to switch it up again. And like I said, it's a 4-row repeat. So you start with a knit for row 1 and row 2, and then row 3 and row 4 are started with the purl. And you just continue that way. And it works up really nice. It makes a really nice fabric, which we'll see at the end. Now we do a purl and a knit, purl, And since we started with the knit, we should end with the purl, especially if you do them in odd numbers, or even numbers, I'm sorry. Knit, purl, drop down, fold in, chain 1, and pull through 2. Okay, now this one's the same thing again. We're going to start with a knit. We're on row 6 now. Purl, knit, purl. So when you're doing your second row of that new stitch, you're going to see that you're putting it into the same. And that's what gives it the pattern. So we're going back into knit. Now we go to purl. Back into knit. Purl. Knit. Purl. Knit. Purl. Knit. Purl. More yarn. Some of these balls I wound really tight. I didn't mean to. Just wasn't paying attention. Knit. Purl. Knit. Purl. And since we started with a... Did I screw up? No. Just look that way for a minute. Started with the knit. We should end with the purl. Of course, we're on the same thing. Now we drop down, fold over, and there you are. And when you sometimes, and then chain 1 and pull through 2. And sometimes when you're working with these multiple stitches like this, you do get lost. And those times it's like, okay, I got to redo the whole row, undo it. Instead of just figuring out where you went wrong, just undo it. No point in creating more aggravation and frustration with your project or yourself. Just undo it and redo it over. I mean, yes, in some projects it may be a lot to undo, and in some projects it may not be a lot to undo. But there's rows, that is 6 rows. Now, I'm going to leave y'all to do the remaining 6. Remember, we're going to start with knit neck, or the purl next. And you're going to do that for 2 rows, and then start with purl for 2 rows, and then then knit for 2 rows, and then purl for 2 rows. And that should finish up your 12. I'll see you back when we have 12. All right, we're just going to finish up the last bit of this row, and then we're going to do a close off. And I'm going to do the close off, keep it in continuation of the stitch pattern. All right, so let's go ahead. Because the last 2 rows were purl. So when I do this close off, I'm going to do the close off in the alternating. So for the purl, all right, we're going to finish the last few stitches here, and then we're going to do the close off. Now with the close off, it's going to be a little different. Where I put a purl, because the last 2 rows are purl, we're going to continue with the pattern. So the next 2 rows, if we kept going, would be knit. So I'm going to close off with a knit into that purl. And then I'm going to put a purl into this knit. And then just keep doing that all the way through. So where there's a purl, you're going to put a knit. And where there's a knit, you're putting a purl. And that would have kept going on with the pattern anyway. I just think it actually gives it a nice continuation. like I said in the last video. So let's just keep that on going till we get to the end. I don't know what I was about to do there. Then we got a purl. Pull that all the way through. Now we're at the end, so we're going to go ahead and get into that last hole, or that bottom stitch. Go ahead and pull through. And now it's closed off. Now I'm going to go ahead and snip a little bit of yarn off. Do one more chain. And there we are, and then tighten it up. There you go. So that is the double seed. It is different than the regular seed stitch, but you know, it is double, because you could see it makes this portion a lot bigger. You know, unlike with the regular seed stitch, you didn't have this middle, you just had these, and then that was it. I like it. And tell me what y'all think in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe if you can. And until next time, keep stitching.